All right, so one of the questions we see a lot is from e-learning designers looking to design custom themes or specific looks for content, right? So something that might not fit within the standard corporate templates. It might be a unique project, or maybe a client's asking for something that's branded a little bit more targeted to the content. And I think the same process that we use in instructional design, right? So when we work with our analysis worksheets, we have, topics that we go through from our analysis phase around the audience and the topics and the culture and the processes that we're doing. Those same elements that we use for identifying the learning design can also be used, a similar process can be used for identifying the visual design. So some of the topics that I cover are right here. And what I want to do is walk you through the process as we do a quick makeover on a before course on the Ho National Rainforest, and then I'll walk you through the process for identifying some content and some design elements that actually might help make this course a little bit more visually appealing and really tie the visual voice of the course back into the learning voice of the course. So the first thing I always do is I start off with a pretty similar mind map with some high-level topics. These are just very similar to the kind of questions I might have on analysis worksheet, right, around my elements or my typography, the people. Pop culture references are always really great for getting an idea of the types of ways that a topic might be visually communicated. And then from there, I begin filling in those elements. So if we're talking about doing a course or doing a makeover on a nature course or a course on the forest, what are some of those elements? Wood grains, paper textures, leaf branches. The typography is probably going to be a little bit more organic or natural. So when you're searching for type, those are the kind of keywords that you might use or search for. People, we might have the different types of people, tourists who visit it, maybe employees who work in the forest, and then so on. And then from there, I'll start to collect some images. And these aren't really the images necessarily that I'm going to use in the course, but I want to transfer these written terms, these written adjectives, the way I'm describing these elements, into more of a visual approach to it. It also helps when you're working with clients for them to get kind of an idea of the tone or the mood of what you're going for. So back to the elements of the tree, right? I have some wood. I have a lot of greens and browns. For the fonts, when I searched for the fonts under organic and natural, I came up with some of these fonts right here. Tourists, scouts, hikers, some other people that might feel passionate about the trees. From pop culture reference is actually a really great way to go because a lot of times when you think about Hollywood set design, they spend a lot of money trying to capture that feel and that voice of the course. So that's a really great way to kind of look for influences from other industries. And of course, magazines or publications are great. Analogies are actually really great. I had something around home building, lumber, trees are like pencils, and I had some pencils down there. And then, of course, the colors. Ultimately, the colors are what you're going for. And you can sample the colors really from, the images that you're using in the graphics that you're selecting. So again, these necessarily don't have to go into the course, but you're just trying to establish a look and a feel or a mood for that course. And then from there, you start to refine your image selection. So let's take a look at what the final product looked like. So this was the before, and it was a really heavy content-based course around the forest. And then afterwards, we were able to come up with something like this. Now, at first, this might seem a lot more complicated with a lot more elements, but I'll break it down for you and actually see that there isn't much else going on here. Essentially, we were able to come up with a template with the tree image faded off into a light white content area, and then we have a piece of wood down here, kind of representing some of that more natural and organic kind of textures that are associated with the forest. But we used the type, right? So we had that one font that we liked over here, Katarina, right? So that was a nice heading font or title font for us. And then we incorporated the colors of the greens and the browns. But essentially, that's one way to approach kind of identifying what are those components of that design that you're looking for. And you can apply this with a lot of different topics, and we'll cover some additional examples in some additional future screencasts. So I hope that's helpful. But just consider treating your visual analysis very similar to the way you do your instructional design analysis, right? Identify the different elements and components that'll make up that visual design, and then from there start finding images and terms and words that actually support those elements.